Hello and welcome to episode number 26 of the Just Flying series. So we're beavering today, and as Thunderer's beaver is a tail dragger, place your bets now for what kind of landing we'll manage. But to be fair, this is the tail dragger aircraft that I fly much more than any other tail draggers in the hangar, which may be worth noting before you make your choice, because landings generally go quite well in this or end in a ground loop after touchdown. So those are definitely the two favourites. It's been a while since I crashed this one, so I'd say we are likely to finish the right way up at least. Anyway, we're at the right end of the runway for where the wind is blowing, so let's get going. Just sort the engine out first, then we can start heading north. Our final destination today is going to be NZKP Kaputaroa, which is just north of the town of Levine. Coach tour did stop there for a short break on the journey, so it's a town I have actually been to, even though I didn't really get to see much of it. But quick wave goodbye to NZPP airports, which is quite probably the last time it will appear in a video until I start doing an upgrade of it. Local friend Hendrik did spot the hint in the last video and is happy to be on standby for when I do need a few pictures of the place, and that's nice. Having someone local who is happy to get me some information means that hopefully instead of a good airport I can make a very good one, which will take a bit more time, but I think it could be worth the effort. The same way Vincent had a few visits to Rangiora for me, and that eventually became a very nice full custom airfield, so if we can do something similar with Paraparaumu, then that will be great. Although I think that is the old name for it, and it might be officially Kapiti Coast Airfield now. But I'm not sure if that can be changed. In X-Plane by default it's NZPP Paraparaumu, and I know that with the ICAO codes, if I make a scenery here and change the code to NZPP1 for instance, then X-Plane would show both the new scenery and the default NZPP as well, as it would think they were two separate places. But if you keep the ICAO code the same, which it still is anyway, and just change the name of the place, I'm not totally sure what happens in that case, because I don't think I've ever had the need to try that before. And we'll find out when I make a start on things. Give it a go at renaming it to Kapiti, and we'll see what happens. But quite nice to be flying again actually, as I haven't had a flight for a few days. In fact, I think the previous Just Flying video might be the last time I used X-Plane. Been out and doing other things a couple of times, messing around with other stuff. And for computer games, I've been having a bit of a binge with Wreckfest again. In case you don't know what Wreckfest is, it's a car racing, well, it's more like a car crashing game, really. Yeah, soft body physics on the cars, so they slowly fall to bits during a race. Lots of scenery items around the track that you can drive through and destroy, so lots of debris everywhere, and it's all a lot of fun. I bought it ages ago, close to when it first came out, and tend to have a binge on it for a few weeks, then get a bit bored and not play it again for a while, then give it another go and realise that I'd forgotten how much fun it was, and keep repeating that kind of pattern. I'm in a using it quite a lot phase at the moment. I'm enjoying myself with that and crashing cars rather than flying for a few days. But as we are back to planes today, and it's not much of a detour, we'll have a quick visit to Otaki. I'm not going to bother landing, but we'll have a fly past and wave to it. There's nothing special really, just a grass strip runway, but I've always kind of liked this place. Although I admit that's largely due to landing the other way. It's a fairly normal kind of airfield with this approach. But that will have to do as I can't be bothered turning around. But if you ever do come here, then using the more south-facing runway, it's a much better looking approach over the town and the river and even the little factory by the end of the runway. That looks quite nice in my opinion. Here we go. The hangars and the apron area down at this end. Factory just over to the left. Yeah, so if you did miss it for some reason, it's XNZOT Otaki Airfield. It is probably about 3 years old as a scenery, so it's not quite up to my modern day standard, but it still looks good enough and it's not showing its age too much. Now, I had a weird day at the weekend. It was Saturday morning and I'm in bed asleep having a dream where I'm on holiday. Now, it's a lovely big hotel, there are some family, some friends, some complete strangers. There's about 40 of us in our party for some reason. So I'm just walking through the hotel reception when one of the staff comes over and says, "I'm really sorry, but something happened and we had to change your room and move you to a different one. But don't worry, our staff have packed up all your belongings and moved that over to the new room as well, so here's your key and away you go." Now in this dream, I'm sharing a room with my mate Dave, and also a complete stranger who is another bloke about my age. No idea who he is, why I'm on holiday with him, but such is life, weird shit happens in dreams. So the three of us go up to our new room. Now when we go in, I find that moving our luggage has basically entailed just throwing all the shit into our suitcases and taking them from the old room to the new one and then dumping them on the beds there. Now, in real life and in this dream, I've got quite a large backpack which I can use as a suitcase, and if I go for somewhere for a longer amount of time, such as my trips to NZ, that's great. And also a smaller backpack which is fine for just a few days and perfect for hand luggage on planes and things like that. So both of those were great on the NZ trips, and I had a routine, knew which things went in which bag, so it was all nicely ordered. But in this dream I remember getting a bit upset at things like how the staff had put my toothpaste in the wrong backpack, and other stuff was out of place to where it should have been. But then I discovered I was missing a shoe. Now, I've searched through both of my bags for this shoe, but nothing. And I remember getting very annoyed because they were a really good pair of shoes and I've only got one left now. I was just getting the other two to start searching their luggage as well to see if my shoe was in there before I go downstairs to the main desk to start shouting at people about the missing shoe. And that was the point where I woke up. Now, this was such a vivid dream that for about an hour after I got up, I was wandering round still feeling really annoyed about this missing shoe, which was a totally fantasy shoe from a dream, not real in any way whatsoever, but for some reason I'm still really pissed off about it. While I was making my first cup of coffee of the day, as I was putting milk into the cup, I spilt the tiniest little bit of milk. There was hardly anything where you didn't even need a cloth. Just wipe your finger across it and this tiny spot of milk disappeared, so it's nothing at all. But somewhere in my head that morning was, "Oh, for fuck's sake, Jesus, what the cat?" Unfortunately, things did get back to normal again later, but for that first hour, my day was interesting. Yeah, the rest of the day got a lot better after that, and actually I had a very pleasant evening with a few beers, and then we went for a Chinese meal after that. Prawns in garlic butter and Szechuan beef, both of which were really lovely. And if you're ever in my part of the world, the Jade Wok restaurant in the town of Solihull does come highly recommended. I've been there plenty of times over the years and I don't remember a bad one yet. Quite a good week for food actually, as Tuesday I was at a Turkish restaurant. And that was really lovely too. And even cooking for myself. Did some dinner just before I started this flight, and that was very enjoyable. So, one of the better things I've made. Talking of food, this is the town of Levin we're flying over now, and as I mentioned before, my coach during the 2010 trip to New Zealand, that did stop here for a short break. The driver, who was a really lovely guy called Kelvin, recommended an ice cream shop very close to where we'd parked, and he was correct, it was very nice. And when we left, our next stop was for a night in Wellington, but we're heading in the other direction now, and our next stop is Kaputuroa. I don't think there's a town or village of Kaputuroa as such, it's more a loose rural community, but whatever it is, that's the name of the airfield. Although before we can land there, we will have to find it first. And it's been a while since I've been to this one, but seeing these light brown sandy coloured fields is ringing a bell. Reload of the weather. Yeah, I seem to remember a big square field close to the end of the runway. So I'm wondering if that might be the place up ahead. Rather than navigating, this has been more memory and luck and heading in the general direction so far. So if it's not, we can soon call up the moving map and find out where we really are. But fingers crossed. And yeah, I think that is the one, as I can see a hedge around it. I don't put those kind of details in too far away from the runway, so if you do see a hedge anywhere in my sceneries, then you know that you are fairly close to an airport. Plus the hedge being around a sandy coloured field, which I remember, and yeah, that's the one, isn't it? Yep, we got it. Yeah, looking at it now, I'm sure there are some power lines in the field before the runway, so we'll have to make sure we don't run into those, as I do want to circle around and land that way. We've got about 9 knots of wind, and most of it is going to be crosswind. Coming in that way, it'll be more 80 degrees rather than 100. And I'll give myself every advantage I can. Tail dragger, no X-plane for a week. Probably about a month since I flew this beaver, so any help is gratefully received. Especially as it's not the longest of runways once you've cleared the power lines and got down. Yeah, taking all that into consideration, I think I'm going to place my money on nice enough touchdown, then ground looping while I'm trying to stop. But I will try for a good landing, so keep your fingers crossed. Back round to the field again. Yeah, I'm assuming to remember now something about the preview video, making a joke about these brown fields being the place where they grow sand. Well, at least I'll remember it for next time now. And strap yourselves in and let's see what we can do. And yep, there's the power lines. Over those. Okay, we've drifted off slightly to the left, but other than that, Now some people prefer a 3-point landing, but I've always done better with this. Land on 2 wheels, try and get everything straight, and then put the tail wheel down. That's nice and smooth for a touchdown. Drift slightly to the left, but not by much. Yeah, gotta say, very happy with that one. So, welcome to NZKP Kaputuroa. Yes, certainly enjoyed that. Very nice flight, even if the weather wasn't that great. Successful landing, which is probably one of the better ones I've ever done in this plane, so yeah, happy with that. We'll just go and taxi back up to the top end to park. Yeah, some people up here. Yeah, these two on the left there, that's Hilda and Ron. And yeah, going to see them because they have a little business selling single shoes. So hopefully they've got one to match the one that I'm missing. So there we go then. Episode 26 of the Just Flying series. And fingers crossed I should be able to do episode 27 fairly soon. I'm just thinking north of here we have Oakia, Fielding and Palmerston North, all fairly close to each other. Place your bets on which one of those we'll end up going to, as I'm sure it'll be one of them. So until next time then, see you soon. Bye.